The show goes on, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, does the show go on. Lots of stuff happening in the media in regards to Chelsea FC at the moment. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you lot are all doing well. I really do hope that. Disclaimer, I'm still rather poorly. No, it's not the big virus. But I do have a sore throat, and I will be clearing it a lot. That might be quite triggering in video or for listeners, but I can only apologise. It is what it is. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I reflect on the headlines, and boy is there headlines today. Largely, of course, about big headline story. Romelu Lukaku, the big meeting is today with Thomas Tuchel. More stuff we're hearing, that he is being linked to Antonio Conte's Tottenham in the summer. If he makes it that far, if he doesn't come back into the Chelsea team, there's great writing on The Athletic from Simon Johnston. I'm gonna be citing that a little bit with some wild news as well, so get comfortable. Do consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. You're all welcome, and let's see if we can get over 2,500 likes. That'll be nice. I think we could do it if we work together. Just drop a like. It takes a second, friend. Now, if you have been living under a rock, which I'm sure none of you have been, Romelu Lukaku did an interview with Sky Italia when he wasn't happy at Chelsea, and he said some wild things, and they were wild. I don't want this to be perhaps swept under the carpet or sort of diluted as time goes on. He said he wasn't happy with the Chelsea system. He wants to go back to Inter soon. He misses the Inter fans. They're the best fans in the world. He wants to go back there when he's still in his prime. He doesn't want Lautaro Martinez to come to Chelsea. No, don't come to Chelsea. I'm going to meet you back at Inter. He wants to target the pinnacle of football, which is Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. Nothing in terms of playing at Chelsea now being good for him. So he's a Chelsea fan, but he just dragged Chelsea through the mud over and over and over, and it got progressively worse as more quotes were released. And Thomas Tuchel said that himself in the pre-match interview and post-match interview for Chelsea's 2-2 draw against Liverpool. He was saying, look, at first I thought it was okay, and they were taken out of context, but then more came out, citing the fact how, more sort of quotes were developing, and they actually progressively got worse. So it is really, really bad what Thomas Tuchel has done, and I don't think I need to remind you that. Excuse me while I sip my tea. But they're having a meeting today, the fabled big meeting where they discuss it. I do really like how Thomas Tuchel spoke about he doesn't make decisions in his office. He says he actually talks to senior players, and not just a couple, like the captain. He says he talks about 6, and he says, this is our club. This is not my decision to make. It's their club too. It's their badge. I want everyone to be happy. So he almost calls in like a round table at Chelsea and discusses it with them, which is very, very good and impressive from the Chelsea manager, that he feels like it needs to be a sort of democracy, or he needs to be diplomatic about it, and that's really impressive in terms of keeping harmony in indeed difficult times. That's really impressive, and I'm very pleased that Tuchel does that. So before we speak about or cite the article from Simon Johnson and talk about more interesting stuff that has developed, I want to reflect on a headline, because that's what we do here on Chelsea News on Football Therapy. And this is, of course, linking Romelu Lukaku to Antonio Conte's Tottenham. Of course, Lukaku and Conte have had a very strong bond over at Inter. They got the best out of each other, seemingly. And even when asked about it recently, Antonio Conte says, rather than saying, oh no, I'm not talking about a Chelsea player, waved it away. He did say he's a Chelsea player, but prior to that, he talked about his sentimental connection with Lukaku, or something like that, which is very telling in many ways. Let's have a quick look. Romelu Lukaku is at the top of Antonio Conte's summer wish list for Tottenham after the Chelsea star controversial interview. The publication Gazzetta dello Sport over in Italy claim that Spurs could ditch top target Dusan Vlahovic from Fiorentina to pursue a deal for Lukaku in the summer transfer window. The Belgium international's controversial interview has changed Tottenham's transfer plans, while the former club Inter Milan, who talked about returning to, could pursue a loan deal. Let me sip my tea, ladies and gentlemen. As we know, Inter Milan fans are not happy with Romelu Lukaku, just like Chelsea fans. His plan backfired. After doing that interview, the Inter Milan Ultras left a banner outside the San Siro that read something like, "It's not about those who run away in the rain, it's about those who stay in the storm," by Romelu. Basically saying, you're not welcome back, mate. You can say whatever you want. You're not welcome back. So He can't go back to Inter, in my opinion, unless he just does somehow. But it's on the surface of it looks like he can't. It's looking really ropey at Chelsea. And, does that mean Lukaku and Tottenham suddenly make sense, Even though Harry Kane's one of the best strikers in the world, and on form recently, it was like him and Lewandowski that were the best two. He hasn't been that so much of late. I think Conte recognises he's amazing, but I think if you said to Antonio Conte, pick one, Harry Kane or Lukaku, he's always going to go for Bay. Do you know what I mean? He just loves Lukaku that much. And Harry Kane, despite Antonio Conte being at the club and making them better and giving them a top 4 charge, all of that, if you said to Harry Kane, right, you still have a chance to move to one of these big clubs that are often winning trophies, do you want to do it? Harry Kane would probably go, yes please. Do you know what I mean? So there is theorising, and it's complete speculation, of course, that could be something done between Romelu Lukaku and Harry Kane, who probably will share a similar value, And Harry Kane could maybe say, I wanted to go to City, but it wasn't going to happen, and this Lukaku thing, our current manager obviously loves Lukaku more than me, and I still just fancy the change, and maybe last summer they would have never forgiven him for coming to Chelsea, but who knows, with all this new sort of narrative, perhaps. And I'm not saying Kane's coming to Chelsea, it's a complete speculation, theorising, out of the air, pulling it. But, if Lukaku was to somehow remember, he's only just signed for Chelsea, he's got a long deal. So I wanted to reflect on that, coming from Italy Reports. Shock, horror, surprise, ladies and gentlemen. But let's move on. So this is coming from The Athletic, an article done by David Ornstein and Simon Johnson and more, so a collective. It's a big old article. I'm only going to cite certain elements of it. I urge you to go check it out. However, it should be pointed out in the media that after the 2-2 draw, Tuchel insisted he was not personally angry, quote, with Lukaku. He added, "It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the first time an interview causes some noise and that nobody needs, but we can handle it. I don't feel personally attacked." Good that he said that. Whether I believe that he doesn't feel like he's been personally attacked or not, I don't know. He didn't say the coach is bad. I mean, the coach has just won the Champions League. He said he's changed the system. Remember, in his recent interview after Aston Villa, he says he understood why the coach changed the system. So maybe there was talks since. There's still speculation whether there's a way back for Lukaku here. We're going to get to that in a moment. Let me sip my tea. Understandably and inevitably, it's a subject players have been discussing a lot since the interview came out. One source claims, like the hierarchy in Tuchel, none of the players saw this coming or had an indication Lukaku was unhappy at Stamford Bridge. Bang, bang. Wait for this. Another one feels the timing of the interview is significant. Some of the players feel like Lukaku is looking for a move. As far as they're concerned, why speak like that just ahead of a transfer window opening? Wow. If this is true, what the player's saying that. It goes on. Everyone has an opinion on what Lukaku has done, but it appears there's little support for the striker's actions in the dressing room. As one source explained to The Athletic, quote, "I was speaking to one of the players and asked him if anyone was sticking up for Lukaku. He said, no. None of them can believe he's done it." Wow. That tells you exactly. I realised I went full Gordon Ramsay there. Wow. Yeah, but that is that is absolutely incredible. So he really has done the dirty. There's not been maybe he's been not treated well in training and talked to the players like, look, why am I getting selected? Nothing, literally nothing, and it's blown my mind, as you've well-known viewer or listener from watching me over these last few days. It's done the exact same thing to the Chelsea players, and that I kind of think that in many ways was reflected in their rallying, really good team performance against Liverpool at home, where we're probably the better side. Excuse me, and should have won. I think we had the better of the stats. I did a match review yesterday. I talk about the stats. Go check that out if you want to. Obviously we got a bit unlucky in that game with a mistake and stuff. We probably should have won it against a good Liverpool side after a difficult spell, of course, without Lukaku. The players rallying together. So, the meeting is today. I'm so pleased that Thomas Tuchel takes that opportunity to talk with the senior players. Noticeably, Tuchel appears to have the backing of the squad. Bang. And now he's dealt with Lukaku, and how they, in terms of how they feel he's dealt with Lukaku. He's decided to confer with 5 or 6 senior players before making a final decision to omit Lukaku from the Liverpool game. It is believed that Jorginho, Cesar Azpilicueta, N'Golo Kante and Antonio Rudiger were among those consulted. So that's 5 of the 6. I did think about those 3. Maybe not so much N'Golo Kante, because I feel like he's a little bit more passive, but he's probably more just like having him in the room as a mark of respect, you'd sort of think. Do you know what I mean? And asked whether he felt he needs to discuss with squad members, he replied, "I don't take decisions in my office and around my thoughts. I take decisions for the team. I listen to them. I hear their opinion, what they think, and then I make my decisions once I hear them out. It's their club, their team. It's not a personal thing with me that I decide on my thoughts." Incredible. So that's really, really good. And one massive positive around this difficult and turbulent situation for Chelsea is the fact how the entire Chelsea fan base have seemingly rallied around the manager Thomas Tuchel, which is nice. And it's a rare thing in these sort of high-profile clubs where at the best of times, all fans are just happy with a manager. You could win the Premier League and fans would want the manager out. Do you know what I mean? It happens. It's mental. But there seems to be a uniform understanding around the Chelsea fan base in regards to how Thomas Tuchel has dealt with Romelu Lukaku. So here's an update. Here's a roundup. Obviously, Italian media linking him to a move to Tottenham. Harry Kane replacement, I suppose. That's what you'd think. And Antonio Conte adores Lukaku, and it would be a way to try and keep Conte at Spurs. Would it happen? I mean, Lukaku's probably already felt like he's burnt bridges with Chelsea fans, so he might not feel like he's inclined to tiptoe around us and not go to our rivals. He's already done the damage, and I don't think he's got particularly any. I mean, clearly he hasn't got any problems with himself doing crazy stuff like that. Let me just sip my tea once again. I do apologise for the throat clearing. I know it can be quite triggering. But the Hello Handsome mug is here to save us. Alright, so Tottenham, I think probably it's unlikely. But of course it's going to be a story until it's not. Whether he's trying to make a move in January, I think there's still a chance this could happen because he probably might just want to get out. He might even buy himself out. He might even rip up his contract so that I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. There could be something. The players aren't backing him, or certainly they're shocked and they're probably quite let down by his behaviours, and certainly shocked is the main thing because he was training with them. When he scored against Villa and Brighton, he was celebrating with the players, hugging them. The fans were singing his name, Romelu Lukaku. Just absolutely sensational scenes. Incredible scenes. It's about Chelsea not getting absolutely stung if they sell him financially, because of course they are in a dip in terms of after they've presented the accounts after the apocalypse essentially the last few years. And their most expensive ever asset has just come out and said things that immediately depreciates his value. But ultimately, I feel good. And I'll tell you why I feel good. Because the way the coach has done stuff and rallied, the way the players are doing stuff and rallied, and the way indeed the fans are doing things and rallied. Is there a way back for Romelu Lukaku? Yes. There's the meeting today, of course. As soon as we get some news on that, I'll make another video. So make sure the bell notifications icon is on in this channel when you subscribe. But he'd have to do a public apology and be like, look guys, I didn't want to tarnish my legacy with Inter. I thought this was going to do good. Clearly I just wasn't thinking and it went bad. I love this team. I watched the way you guys play against Liverpool. I want to be a part of Chelsea. I'm a Chelsea fan. Please understand my reasons and please understand I made a mistake. If he does all that and apologises to the squad and the manager, there's every chance he can come back into the team. Short of that, and I've got this gut feeling that he might just dig his heels into his, no, I want to go now. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I hope not. And if he does, that's very disappointing. But anything's possible in the world of football. Guys, I'm going to end it there. Make sure you keep it locked for updates. Again, I apologise for being a bit poorly, but it is what it is. And thank you for everyone that supports the channel. And thank you for liking the video and commenting and indeed sharing it if you want to share it. That means a lot. Friends, enjoy the football. See you soon. Peace.